Hi, buddy. Welcome to the Conscious Creation Academy. And my name's David Marshall. And so what I wanted to do was talk about how to find yourself when you're lost, because, a lot of people experience that. I do too, obviously have done in the past. And it's a very, very difficult place to be. Certainly, anyone who has depression, anyone who has gone through a difficult time in life tends to have that feeling of being lost and not knowing which way to turn. What do you do? And so, as a conscious creator, because with that kind of slant on it, then there are very specific things that you can and should do if you're feeling that way. And they're very simple, but they are also very powerful as well. So the first thing that you should do is bring yourself into the present moment. The nature of reality is that time is simultaneous. A lot of people feel lost about the future or effects of the past. Now, because time doesn't actually exist, something that you may or may not be able to get your head around, then simply the act of bringing yourself into the present is something that is by nature going to relieve some tension. Okay, and that's what you need to do. You need to find a way to relieve that tension, to get a sense of direction. But the direction that you're seeking isn't an intellectual direction. Okay, because the intellect is so limited compared to our broader nature. So the first thing to do is to bring yourself into the present moment. Do something, think about, the walls that are around, look out the window, bring yourself in. And by doing that, you bring yourself into a natural state. The second thing that you should do is ask the question, who am I? And do that, take yourself out quietly, get yourself a cup of tea, sit down alone if I were you, and ask yourself, who am I? And rather than answer it yourself in the intellect, allow the feelings and the knowledge of that to come through you. And as it does, I guarantee, and you might, if you're feeling a bit emotional, if you're feeling a little bit lost, it might take a little bit of time or a couple of goes. But I can promise you, once you pull yourself into that present moment, you ask your question, who am I? And you allow that to come through, then the inner self, the soul, whatever you want to call it, will begin to respond to that. And as the soul, the self responds to that, you'll begin to engage at emotional levels that you've been disconnected from. And so that's really important. That makes you just feel better. Okay, that will allow you to gain a sense of strength. Literally, the molecules and the muscles in your body will begin to replenish themselves. It's a bit like having a psychic recharge, but one that's very, very natural. And the third thing to do is refuse to worry. Now, if you want to talk in terms of my past, my history, then, there have been plenty of things, plenty of very extreme situations that I've had to have experienced, and also, have had a very strong sense of being lost around children and lots of other things, So it's not something I'm just advocating as a theory. I can promise you, doesn't matter what situation you're in, you really can feel better by deciding to not worry. Now, because time doesn't exist, then worrying is a construct, if you like, in your mind. It's completely unnatural to do it, totally unnatural. Only exists because we've been brainwashed, if you like, that time exists, but it doesn't. And the benefit of knowing that is you can decide to not worry, to not stress. So what happens then is you get another sense of relief coming in, and your inner self can kind of come through. And because that inner self is who you are, what happens then is you stop feeling lost. You start feeling more engaged with yourself. You start gaining a sense of who you are, the multidimensional, incredible, amazing being that you are, immortal, timeless, formless, and having the power to create the life that you want. That's who you are. And if you're feeling lost, then you're simply disconnected from that, and those three things will really help. So the first thing, really just bring yourself into this present moment, stick your head under a tap or whatever it is, doesn't matter, bring yourself in. Second thing, ask yourself the question, who am I? And allow that answer to come through. And the third thing is refuse to worry. And those three things combined will re-engage you, make you feel better, reinvigorate you at emotional levels, psychic levels, and physical levels. And as it does, you'll feel a lot better and a lot more connected. And from there, you can begin to use the magical approach. You can begin to use your power to create what you want. But if you're feeling lost and disempowered, the two tend to go hand in hand. it's almost impossible then to imagine that you can change your circumstances, but you absolutely can. I've changed every single circumstance in my life. I'm still working through some of them, but I have altered and changed massively so many circumstances by using that approach to gain back control, to allow myself to feel more focused psychically, emotionally, and physically, and then go forward. And I promise you, the world's a very different place when you are feeling as though your natural direction is flowing through you, flowing from you, and that the world is a good place, which it is. Reality is a good place for you. You can handle it. You can do it. You just need to have the tools, and hopefully those three things will help you. So if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling slightly disengaged, you don't know what direction to take, I hope that really helps for you. You have the power to change anything in your life, without doubt. And I know that because I've had to change all of them to get to the position I'm in now. I'm still going through that. But I absolutely promise you, if I can do it, you can do it without a doubt. And without massive effort, life can be easy. I promise you it really can. So I hope that's useful for you. If you're feeling lost, you've got any comments, put them below. I wish you all the best. If you're feeling in that situation where you're lost and slightly unsure and slightly not feeling your best, use these three things. And if the second one, which is asking yourself, who am I, that might take a little bit of doing. So give yourself 15, 20 minutes, if you like, over a period of 2 or 3 days. I promise you, once you feel that energy of who you are, life is very, very different, and you can just continue to reconnect back. All right, I hope that's helpful for you, and I will see you on the page. Ask any questions, love to help. And if you're feeling that way again, I wish you all the best. Take care.